Hello, my name is Claire, and I'm 26 years old. After years of struggle, I earned my promotion at Carter Solutions, moving from a junior assistant to department lead. It took me 6 years of relentless effort, countless late nights, and immeasurable patience. The achievement was my own, nobody handed it to me, and that's what made it so special. But as I was soaking in the joy, my phone buzzed unexpectedly. I glanced at the screen and froze. It was a number I recognized but hadn't seen in years, my mother's. Hell, my voice barely came out as I answered. "Claire, sweetheart," came her reply, her voice sweet and rehearsed, just as I remembered it. "Your father and I saw your post. We're so proud of you." The words hit me like a gust of cold wind. Proud. Where was that pride when I needed it most? "Thanks," I said, gripping the edge of my desk to keep my hand steady. "We should celebrate," she continued with forced enthusiasm. "Why don't you come over this weekend? We can throw a party for you. The whole family would love to see how successful you've become." The whole family. Those words hung in the air. That meant Daisy, my younger sister, the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. "I'll think about it," I said, my throat tight. "Please do, darling. We've missed you so much," my mother added with the same sugary tone. "It's time to move past everything, don't you think?" After the call ended, I sat motionless, the phone still clutched in my hand. 8 years of silence, broken because of a social media post. 8 years since I'd walked out of that house, promising myself I'd never go back. I looked down at the bracelet on my wrist, the one with the medical alert charm for my severe nut allergy. It was a constant reminder of the neglect I'd faced growing up. My grandmother's words echoed in my mind: "Family is who treats you like family, not just who shares your blood." She had been my real family, the only one who truly supported me. Grandma had believed in me, helping me through college and celebrating every milestone. The thought of returning to that house, filled with people who had made me feel invisible, churned my stomach. Daisy's face flashed in my memory. For years younger than me, she had always been the center of my parents' world, while I was left with hand-me-downs and forgotten school achievements. Daisy got designer clothes, extravagant birthday parties, and constant praise. I recalled one family dinner when a relative questioned my parents about the blatant favoritism. My mother had simply shrugged. "Claire is independent," she said dismissively. "Daisy has real talent that needs nurturing." Even as a child, I understood what that meant. Daisy was the star, and I was the shadow. The memories refused to stay buried. I thought about my 11th birthday. I had spent weeks hoping for an art set I'd seen at the store, a simple kit with colored pencils and a sketchbook. Instead, I got a pack of plain pencils. "You need these for school anyway," my mom had said, brushing off my disappointment. That same year, Daisy's 8th birthday was a grand spectacle. My parents transformed our backyard into a Disney princess wonderland, complete with decorations, a cake shaped like a castle, and even a hired performer dressed as Cinderella. "She's just more artistic," my mom had told a relative when asked about the blatant difference. "Daisy needs the right tools to grow her talent." It wasn't just the gifts or the parties, it was the way they treated me like I was invisible. When I won first place in a state math competition, I came home bursting with excitement, only to hear, "That's nice, dear, but have you seen Daisy's painting? It's being displayed at school." Grandma was the only one who saw through it all. She would tell my mom, "You're raising one child to feel entitled and the other to feel worthless. This isn't right, Sophia." But my mother always brushed her off. "Daisy is gifted. Claire is, well, Claire is practical. We're just being realistic about their abilities." Daisy learned to weaponize her position as the favorite. If something broke, she blamed me, and my parents would believe her without question. If she spilled juice on my homework, her crocodile tears would make me look like the villain for getting upset. Once, she even told her friends not to play with me because, in her words, I was boring. Even at school, my accomplishments were overshadowed. When I was accepted into the advanced mathematics program, my parents skipped the awards ceremony to attend Daisy's school play. "We can't be everywhere, Claire," my dad had said. "Daisy needs us more." I learned to expect nothing and rely on myself. By the time I graduated high school, I had built a wall around my heart, a shield to protect myself from the constant feeling of being second best. The final straw came when I got accepted to Ridgecrest University on a full academic scholarship. It felt like validation for all the hard work I had put in. I maintained straight A's, worked part-time, and juggled extracurricular activities, all while dealing with my severe nut allergy. One evening at dinner, I announced my achievement. "I got into Ridgecrest," I said, my voice tinged with pride. "Full scholarship." "That's nice, Claire," my mom said, barely glancing up from her plate. "There's just one thing," I continued, bracing myself. "The scholarship covers tuition, but not housing. I've looked into costs, and it's manageable if I have some help with rent." "No," my dad interrupted firmly, his tone leaving no room for argument. "You chose an out-of-state school. That was your decision. We're saving for Daisy's education. She'll be applying to Evergreen Academy in 2 years, and that won't be cheap." "It's just rent," I pleaded, fighting back the tears threatening to spill. "Claire," my mom said sharply, "we've made our decision. If you want to attend Ridgecrest University, you'll need to figure out the rest on your own." Across the table, Daisy smirked, twirling her fork in her pasta as though she were savoring my pain. I couldn't hold back anymore. "So that's it?" I asked, my voice shaking. "You're not even going to try to help me?" Before anyone could answer, the front door opened. Grandma walked in, holding a congratulations balloon and a small gift bag. Her smile faded as she took in the tense atmosphere. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice calm but commanding. Daisy giggled, always ready to make things worse. "Oh, Claire got into college, but she'll be living on the street because Mom and Dad won't pay for her housing. They're saving for my education instead." The room fell silent. Grandma's face darkened. "Is this true?" she asked my parents, her tone sharp. My dad shifted uncomfortably. "Daisy's education is important and Claire isn't." Grandma snapped, "Your daughter earned a full scholarship, and you won't even help her with rent. Shame on both of you." Turning to Daisy, she added, "And you, young lady, have become a spoiled, entitled brat. I'm ashamed of the way you're behaving." Daisy's smug expression crumpled as she burst into tears, her favorite trick when things didn't go her way. My parents rushed to comfort her, shooting angry glares at Grandma and me. "This is exactly what I mean," my mom snapped. "Claire, you're always causing problems, always making things difficult." Something inside me broke. I stood up, silently left the dining room, and climbed the stairs to my room. Grabbing an old duffel bag, I started packing my clothes. A few minutes later, Grandma appeared in the doorway. "Pack everything you need, sweetheart," she said gently. "You're coming home with me." "But what about college?" I asked hesitantly. Grandma's expression softened. "We'll figure it out. I'll pay for your housing if I have to. You focus on your future." 30 minutes later, we walked out of that house together. My parents' angry voices and Daisy's fake sobs echoed behind us, but I didn't look back. For the first time in my life, I felt free. College life turned out to be everything I had dreamed of and more. My small apartment near Ridgecrest University became my sanctuary, a place where I could finally breathe without feeling like I had to walk on eggshells. Grandma kept her promise, covering my rent and visiting often. She was there for every birthday, holiday, and milestone. My parents and Daisy, on the other hand, became ghosts. No calls on Christmas. No birthday cards. Not even a text when I graduated with honors. It hurt at first, but over time, I realized their absence was a blessing. Years passed, and I built a life I could be proud of. After graduation, I landed a position at a growing tech company called Sterling Technologies. I started as an assistant but worked my way up, putting in long hours and giving it my all. At 26, I earned my first major promotion to department lead, a milestone I celebrated quietly with Grandma over dinner that Saturday. On a whim, I posted about my promotion on social media. The photo showed me shaking hands with Mr. Logan, my director, to commemorate the moment. The caption read, "Persistence pays off. Officially promoted to department lead." I didn't think much of it. To me, it was just a small celebration of hard work. But within hours, my phone buzzed with a call from a number I hadn't seen in years, my mother's. Her voice was the same as I remembered, sweet but fake. "Claire, sweetheart. Your father and I saw your post, we're so proud of you." The word proud felt hollow coming from her. I clenched my jaw but managed to respond. "Thanks. We should celebrate," she continued with practiced enthusiasm. "Why don't you come over this weekend? We can throw a party in your honor. The whole family would love to see you." The whole family. That meant Daisy. "I'll think about it," I said, my voice tight. "Please do, darling," she pressed. "It's time to put the past behind us." When the call ended, I sat staring at my phone, my heart pounding. 8 years of silence, broken because of a social media post. I glanced at the photo on my desk of Grandma and me at my college graduation. She was my real family, the one who had been there through everything. But against my better judgment, I agreed to attend the party. The day of the party arrived sooner than I expected. The house looked exactly the same as it had 8 years ago, cream-colored walls, the brass door knocker I used to struggle to reach as a child. My mother greeted me at the door with an overly cheerful smile. "Claire, you look amazing," she said, pulling me into a stiff hug. The living room hadn't changed either. Daisy's accomplishments still dominated the walls. Her framed degree from Evergreen Academy hung above the fireplace, alongside photos of her at art exhibitions and galas. Daisy sat in Dad's old armchair, scrolling through her phone. She barely looked up to acknowledge me. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart," my mom gushed as we made our way to the dining room. "It's wonderful to see you doing so well." "Very proud," Dad added from his seat on the couch, nodding approvingly. As we sat at the table, I noticed something odd about the meal. The catered dishes were all nut-free, a surprising detail, given my family's history of neglecting my allergy. Grandma arrived shortly after, her warm hug reminding me why I had come. The dinner began with small talk and polite laughter, but as the main course was served, my mother stood to make a speech. "We're here to celebrate Claire's incredible achievement," she began, smiling broadly. "Her promotion to department lead is proof that hard work pays off." I should have known there was more. "And speaking of success," she continued, her tone brightening, "we'd like to talk about Daisy. She's been working on expanding her art career and could use a little guidance. Claire, with your new position, you could help her get a role at your company. Family supports family, right?" The room went silent. All eyes were on me. I forced a smile. "Actually, I don't make hiring decisions. That's not part of my role." Mom's smile faltered. "But surely, with your influence." "Excuse me," I said, standing abruptly. "Mom, Dad, can I speak with you in private?" I led them to the kitchen, my heart pounding. I thought this was supposed to be a celebration of my promotion. I said, keeping my voice steady. This was supposed to be a celebration of my promotion, not a networking event for Daisy. Don't be selfish, Claire, my mother snapped. Daisy needs this opportunity. Selfish. I repeated the word in my mind, stunned. After 8 years of silence, they reached out because they wanted something from me, and I was the selfish one. Dad's face hardened, his voice turning low and cold. We've given Daisy every advantage, invested everything in her future. The least you can do is help your sister now that you're in a position to do so. The conversation ended unresolved, and we returned to the dining room, tension trailing behind us like a storm cloud. I sat back down at the table, ignoring the concerned glances from Grandma and Aunt Grace, who had clearly noticed the strain. The catering staff began serving the main course, a fancy chicken dish drizzled with a creamy sauce. I took a distracted bite, my mind still spinning from the confrontation. Then, almost immediately, something felt wrong. The sauce had a distinct nutty flavor. My throat tightened. Panic hit me like a tidal wave. I dropped my fork, my hands trembling. Peanuts, I gasped, fumbling frantically for my purse, searching for my EpiPen. Around me, chairs scraped against the floor as people stood in alarm. Someone call 911. Grandma's voice cut through the chaos. My vision blurred. My throat continued to close. I felt a hand grip mine, Grandma's. Stay with me, sweetheart, she said, her voice trembling but strong. The room spun. Voices became muffled. Everything faded to black. I woke to the sound of steady beeping. My throat burned. My body felt unbearably heavy. Blinking, I saw Grandma sitting beside me in a hospital chair, her face etched with worry. Oh, thank God, she whispered, leaning closer when she saw my eyes open. You scared us, Claire. The doctor said it was one of the worst reactions they've ever seen. I tried to speak, but my voice was barely a hoarse whisper. The food, they knew. Grandma's expression darkened. We'll talk about it later. Rest now. Before I could respond, Aunt Grace and her daughter, Sophie, burst into the room. Sophie clutched her phone tightly, her face pale. Claire, she said, her voice shaky, there's something you need to see. She handed me her phone. On the screen was a video recorded during the dinner. In the footage, after I had left the room with my parents, Daisy walked over to my plate. She reached into her purse, pulled out a small jar, and stirred something into my food. Then, with a smug smile, she returned to her seat. That's peanut butter, Aunt Grace said, her voice ice cold. She knew exactly what she was doing. My stomach twisted as I watched Daisy's casual, deliberate actions. The smirk on her face made it clear, this wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. It was planned. My voice cracked. She tried to. I couldn't finish the sentence. Grandma's voice was soft but unsteady, thick with a mix of rage and disbelief. She could have killed you. Against the doctor's advice, I left the hospital. The video Sophie had sent to my phone felt heavy in my pocket, a damning piece of evidence I couldn't ignore. My hands trembled on the wheel as I drove straight to my parents' house. Inside, they were sitting in the living room as if nothing had happened, as if I hadn't nearly died at their dinner table. Daisy barely looked up from her phone. What are you doing here? Shouldn't you still be at the hospital, being dramatic? I stepped forward, my voice steady despite the fury boiling inside me. I know what you did, Daisy. Her head snapped up, her face twisting into mock outrage. How dare you accuse me? Don't play dumb, I interrupted, pulling out my phone. I have proof. I pressed play. The room went silent as the video played, Daisy's smirk, the peanut butter, the deliberate stirring of my food. It was all there. Her face paled, but then she laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "Oh, come on. It was just a prank. You're always so serious about everything." "A prank?" My voice rose, shaking with fury. "I could have died, Daisy. The doctor said I barely made it." "Oh, please," my mother interjected, waving a dismissive hand. "You're being dramatic. Daisy was just having a little fun." "Fun?" I stared at them, stunned. I had an anaphylactic reaction. My heart nearly stopped. "And you think this is fun?" Dad's voice turned cold. "Listen carefully, Claire. If you even think about going to the police with this, you're no longer our daughter. We'll disinherit you completely." His words solidified what I had suspected for years. These people weren't my family. They never had been. Without another word, I turned and walked out of the house. My hands were steady now as I got into my car and drove home, determined to take action. That evening, I sat at my desk, staring at the video on my phone. My finger hovered over the upload button. I took a deep breath, then pressed it. I posted the video on all my social media accounts with a caption. "Tonight, I learned the truth about family. My sister deliberately poisoned me, knowing I have a life-threatening allergy. My parents dismissed it as a prank. This is the last time I'll ever call them family." The response was immediate. Comments and messages flooded in from friends, colleagues, even distant relatives. People were horrified, outraged. Aunt Grace shared the video with her own scathing words, while Sophie spread it across her platforms. Meanwhile, my parents and Daisy tried to fight back. They left comments accusing me of lying, calling me an attention seeker, claiming the video was taken out of context. But the evidence spoke for itself. No amount of denial could change what people had seen. The next morning, I walked into the local police station and filed a formal report. The officer took my statement and reviewed the video. By the time I left, a weight I hadn't realized I was carrying had lifted from my shoulders. That afternoon, my parents' lawyer delivered a letter to my apartment. It was official. I had been disowned and removed from their will. Daisy, in typical fashion, posted a tearful video online, portraying herself as the victim. She accused me of tearing the family apart, of ruining her life. But her performance fell flat, especially when compared to the cold, calculated smirk captured in the video. That evening, Grandma called me. Her voice was firm. "I've spoken to my lawyer," she said. "I'm cutting your parents and Daisy off completely. You're my only heir now, Claire. You've always been more of a daughter to me than Sophia ever was." Tears welled in my eyes as I thanked her. For the first time in years, I felt truly supported. Over the next few weeks, I was overwhelmed by the outpouring of love. Relatives I hadn't spoken to in years reached out to offer their encouragement. Friends and colleagues checked in constantly, reminding me that I wasn't alone. One night, Sophie texted me. "You're still my favorite cousin. Mom says you're welcome to join us for dinner anytime." I realized then, family isn't about blood. It's about the people who stand by you. Who show you love and kindness. 8 years ago, I walked away from a toxic family. This time, I was running toward a real one.